judiciary using the ombudsman, then we are back to the imperial presidency that we fought against for 30 years. We would have been a zero-sum game. And that is why I am saying, tunamshukuru Mungu, hii rege mahakama ilisimamisha. Mnanielewa watu wa Kwale? Ama namna gani? Tunaelewana jameni? Watu wawache bwana mchezo. Sasa mimi nauliza nyinyi, si mimi nilisaidia Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga 2007 mpaka akakuwa prime minister? Si nimesaidia rafiki yangu Uhuru Kenyatta mpaka amekuwa rais? Sasa saa hizi nimesema wacha nisaidie kina mama mboga, mbona watu wananikasirikia? Kwani makosa iko wapi? Watu wawache bana. Bana hiyo, bana. Kwani kuna mahali imeandikwa mimi ni mfanyikazi ya kufanya kazi ya watu wengine, nikisema nafanya ya wananchi inakuwa matatizo? Ama namna gani wenzangu? Tuko pamoja? Tutatembea pamoja? So mimi nawaulizeni tafadhali, na watu wengi wanajaribu kusema haya mambo Ruto anasema hayawezekani. Mimi nauliza nyinyi watu wa Pwani, tulijenga reli tukaipitisha hapa kwenu. Tumejenga kilomita 700. Tumejenga mabarabara haya ya Samburu, Majoreni, Milalani, kilomita 10,000 Kenya. Tumeunganisha stima, sasa inafika watu milioni 8. Sasa mnaniambia kazi ya reli tumejenga tukaimaliza, alafu hii ya kusaidia mama mboga ndio inaweza kutushinda? Hapana. Tuache hiyo mchezo na tuache madharau.
One of the huge problems we have in Kenya today is caused by the fact that history bores most of us, especially the younger generation. And the problem is, it is very easy to fool Kenyans about the past. It is extremely easy to rewrite history in your favor as a politician. And this came out very clearly in the last few days, as the DP Ruto camp made a major celebration of defeating reggae, stopping BBI dead on its tracks. And the culmination of these celebrations were remarks by the leader of the Hustler Nation, Deputy President William Samoei Ruto, where he told Kenyans that he has been fighting an imperial presidency for close to 30 years now. Wow. 30 years ago, the Deputy President was 24 years old. And so on today's show, we are going to celebrate the contributions of freedom hero William Ruto. And a good place to start here is the photograph you see on your screens right now, and the tweet by a Kenyan celebrating the Deputy President. This very alert Kenyan said the following about this photograph. A rare photo of freedom hero William Ruto leading pro-democracy protesters in the fight against imperial presidency 30 years ago. He is flanked by University Don Oscar Sudi and head of African business Ndindi Nyoro. Wow, what a great Kenyan. Now let us move on to some remarks by Kenya's most prolific novelist, legend Ngugi wa Thiong'o. Actually, Professor Ngugi wa Thiong'o. And I quote, Raila had refused to eat. He was on a hunger strike. He grew thin and pale. His right palm got dark. The arm had pimples and boils as well. He was receiving extraordinary punishment. He stood for his words. Dictators had to go. Moi had to go. I had been initially jailed for a year by the Kenyatta's regime for criticizing the government acts on my book, Gaheka Deda, I Will Marry When I Want. I had set up a revolutionary theater. This provoked the dictatorial regime. I was jailed for a year. Odinga's was involving. 7 years already in jail. He kept his words. Kenya needed a fresh start. He was willing to pay the price. I felt touched by his story. When I came to see him, he was denied a chance to talk to me. However, he wisely did it in writing. Tell Ida to ask the doctor to prescribe me these drugs. I'm slowly dying. Soon his mother died. His other relatives, including his aunt, followed. He would never be allowed to attend any of the burials. It was painful. It was real torture. He remained in detention without trial. The government would not allow it. Soon he was transferred to Committee Maximum Prison. He was taken to the torture corner, the isolation block, the detention camp, a prison within a prison. Here he was daily served with half-cooked ugali, with vegetable water, with a few limp leaves floating around. And for the first time in 2 weeks, he was served with food. And for the first time in 2 weeks, he was served with food. The blows to his head dazed him. He fell on the floor and lay there. Rono, a GSU officer, and others jumped from his head and to his genitals. His left leg twisted and was confirmed broken. He was either going to speak the truth or become a dead meat. He waited for the end, but it did not come. But still, Odinga refused to give in. End of quote. You know, the Swahili have a saying, heshima sio utumwa. I have often been described as a sycophant of this great Kenyan, Raila Odinga. I know a lot about Raila Odinga. I have many issues with Raila Odinga. But I just have to respect this great Kenyan. Respect does not mean that you ignore the shortfalls of another human being. Your mother has great shortfalls. She has great flaws in her character. But you have no option but to respect her. If for nothing else, she carried you in her tummy for 9 long months. Now I know most of you are curious. Yeah, what issues do I have with Raila? I'll just give you one. His response and his views to the global crisis have just floored me. Indeed, they have alarmed me. Deputy President William Ruto has the same views and the same stand. Which is okay. But Raila having the same views? Inauma. Anyway, my point is, I still respect Raila Odinga. Even when I don't agree with him, I just have to respect him. Why? Because of what he has gone through for the country called Kenya. Because of the contribution he has made to the freedoms and many other things we take for granted today that would not have been there had it not been for the massive contribution of this man. And because this is a celebration of the Deputy President, I have to add, DP Ruto was there, fighting alongside Raila Odinga against an imperial presidency. See, the Deputy President has told us he has been fighting an imperial presidency for 30 years. And the deputy president is a good man. And the deputy president is a freedom fighter. After all, he's the leader of the hustler nation. He's very concerned about the small person in Kenya. Mtu wa kaida, mwananchi wa kawaida. I would love to see other great Kenyans, who have made sacrifices for the country called Kenya, at least elected in 2022. Because we Kenyans have forced them not to dare seek the presidency, and yet they are overqualified for the presidency. I'm talking about great Kenyans like lawyer Gitobu Imanyara. We Kenyans have even refused to elect him as member of parliament. Imagine that. And yet this was a man who was prepared to sacrifice his life for a better Kenya. Because in those days, when you stood against the dictatorial government, the imperial presidency of Daniel Toroitich arap Moi, that is precisely what you were doing. You know, I once ended up in the hands of the dreaded special branch in those days. I went through a lot of torture. I was in the hands of them boys for only 4 harrowing days that I will never forget. People like Gitobu Imanyara spent much longer than that, years in their hands, and therefore have no option but to respect Gitobu Imanyara. And to thank Almighty God that He gave us Gitobu Imanyara to be born and to live in the country called Kenya, because it is a better place because of such a man. And yet we cannot elect Bwana Imanyara even as a member of parliament. And the deputy president was with Gitobu Imanyara, fighting the imperial presidency. He tells us, and the deputy president is a good man, is an honest man, and therefore it must be true. Although I can find no record of such a thing happening. But I believe the deputy president, he must be right. It should all be crystal clear to all of us by now. Now, a special gambling offer is coming to an end strictly within the next 48 hours. So please rush and take advantage of the WAB offer of 1982. Yeah, just send a blank email to the email address you see on your screens right now, and you'll get an instant automated response. And if you're lucky, you'll be able to get our old offer, 1982, and enjoy the WABs, including one that I'm working on right now. Actually, 3 that I'm working on right now. Yeah, and you will never have to pay subscription again. I highly recommend that you rush for it immediately. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.